The New York Power just about set to take on the Bay Area CyberRays. I'm Brad Feldman, joined now by New York Power defender Kristy Pierce. Kristy, obviously the torn ACL, a huge disappointment to you, the team, and your fans. But in this day and age, the recovery from that injury a little more speedy than it used to be.
Oh, definitely. Now I just have to get the swelling out and get full motion in my knee, and I'm going for surgery, and then it's about a 5 to 6 month period, so I'll be back for next preseason.
Well, we wish you a speedy convalescence. Throw it back up to the booth with Joe.
Thank you, Brad, and let's now take a look at the Optimum Online starting lineups. And for the New York Power, well, it's Carey Connors expected to fill the role in the midfield.
Yeah, and that's a role she's familiar with. They're playing a 4-4-2. She'll do find out back there. She'll get forward. She'll like it. And
for the Bay Area CyberRays, well, the WUSA's assist leader, Cici.
What can you say about her but one of the best playmakers in the world?
The Brazilian to try and see if she can find her countrymen, Katia, and also Julie Murray. And what do the Power have to deal with? Well, the keys to the game, energy keys to the game with Pat Farmer.
I didn't.
3 keys for us today for our game with the Bay Area are to attack wide, especially on the right side. Brandy goes forward a lot, trying to get behind her. Defensively, to keep track of the connection between Cici and Katia. I think they're finding each other very well. And then psychologically for us today to continue on, we had a good performance. We need to be confident and concern ourselves with our performance today, not the outcome of the match.
So the keys to the game, we'll have to see how closely the New York Power can take the coach's advice and stick with it. Joe Tollison, Ellen Weinberg, and Brad Feldman with you. And right away, Bay Area trying to see if they can make that foray into the attacking third and into the 18. And it's Christina Bell that knocked that aside. It's Bell and Murray up front. Look for Katia to slip in there as well. They're 2 Brazilian players. Cici and Katia, and they have connected well throughout the season. I think it's no secret, Ellen, that Julie Murray has 9 goals and an assist, and Cici has 1 goal and 9 assists.
What does that tell you?
Now down the right side, Brandy Chastain. People probably more familiar with her when she doesn't have her shirt on, frankly. That picture going around the world after she hit the penalty kick to win the World Cup for the United States in 1999.
She, along with some of these other national team players, have done so much for the game of women's soccer, making themselves household names. Little girls want to be Brandy Chastain, Mia Hamm, and Tiffany Milbrett.
Brandy Chastain legend to a point where Jim Rooney scored a goal in the MLS All-Star game and had a sports bra on when he pulled up his jersey. The United Healthcare injury report, well, we can see the players out for Bay Area, and really the Power for the most part this season relatively injury-free, but losing Kristy Pierce really is key as Chastain chips it ahead, cleared away, and I think it's one where we don't hear oftentimes as Julie Murray about 8 yards offside there, and that's why the flag comes up. You may not have heard a lot from us about, the great defensive job Kristy Pierce does through the course of the game. But as I said to Pat Farmer beforehand, I think a lot of that, Ellen, is because players, other teams don't challenge her because they respect her ability.
And that's a great point. And Pat Farmer said, absolutely, we'll see more people use both sides of the field and try to expose both of our outside backs now. But, you know, when you have a Sara Whalen who's just as strong, just as fast in the back, it's going to be tough to expose the spot that Kristy Pierce leaves behind.
And Cici now. Long ball, Whalen nods it back. Cal will pull this one in. So you see Ian Sawyers, head coach of the Bay Area CyberRays and wife of San Diego midfielder Julie Foudy.
I wonder what those conversations have been like pre-game and post-game, and pretty unique situation.
One up in San Jose, the other down the coast a bit in San Diego. There's now Emily Stauffer.
The interesting thing about that is you look at postseason play, San Diego's still in the mix. And San Diego could play the Bay Area in the first round.
Handball as it was Aaron touching it ahead to Millwood. It would be interesting. We can see for this series, it is Bay Area with the slight advantage on the victory that they posted back in July. It seemed everybody posted a win in July against the Power, but they've recovered and still have that opportunity. Julie Murray in a 1-0 victory. The other was a 0-0 tie. So maybe we're due for some goals here tonight.
And if you talk to the New York Power, they not only obviously want to win every game, but they feel like if they go out and have a good performance and they lose a game, that's okay because there's so much parity within the league. But they felt the worst game they played all year was their last game against the Bay Area. So they have somewhat of a revenge and something to prove out here on top of wanting to win to get into the playoffs.
There's Jans. Boots it ahead into space, and Nanez won't have enough speed to get back there before Gina Oceguera. Touches that out, leaves it for Ronnie Fair on the thrower. As we are just underway here at Mitchell Field, glad you could join us tonight here on MSG for WUSA action between the New York Power and the Bay Area CyberRays. Back to Chastain. Now worked out wide to Kelly Lindsey. Whalen deflects that. Whelchel. Right up into the middle, but Cece steps in front of that.
You look at the Bay Area system, they're playing a 4-3-3 matched up against New York, who's playing a 4-4-2. You ask Pat Farmer and you say, is this the style that you're going to stay in throughout the remainder of the season? He says, I don't know. We might go back to a 4-3-3. You ask the players, they love this style. They love a 4-4-2.
And part of it, too, is it's probably the most popular formation that coaches in the U.S. use, so they're used to playing it. And that ball, just a little too much pace on it for CC to track down.
And one of the reasons, if you look at their midfield, they're lacking that dominant midfield. You look at CC, she's so dominant in the midfield for the Bay Area. New York does not have that player. One of the reasons they had to take Gro Espeseth and put her in the midfield to find that dominating player that can really control the middle of the field. But playing 4 across the middle helps out when you don't have one player that can really take charge like a CC.
Now Milbrit. Well, can't move it ahead to Nanez. Carey Connors. And this should be interesting to watch here. Carey Connors, for the Power this season, has usually been up front in that 4-3-3, but now in the midfield role. And Espeseth, nice ball ahead. But Chastain will cut off Nanez. Play to LaKeysia Beene.
And who does Gro look for? She looks for Anka. Anka's a player she played with in Norway on the national team. Gro says they have a great connection, and she thinks with herself playing in the midfield, it's really helped Anka's game.
Stauffer trying to move it up and over Brandi Chastain. See if the players can get behind Brandi. But right now she's holding her own. Actually kind of moves back out of that midfield role in a way. She'll kind of flip-flop between the midfield and the back line. And here's Chastain getting involved. Connors, though, steps in front, knocks it away, wins the ball, and Espeseth knocks it ahead. However, too far in front of Kristen Nanez. And that's one thing for certain is Nanez doesn't quite have the speed that Milbrit or Tammy Pearman. He can't play the ball that far in front of her. Milbrit now cutting across the middle. Cece chips it away. Chastain. Knock it ahead. Espeseth and Whalen sliding in, and Gro Espeseth can go back to her hard tackles and stiff challenges. She went through her 4th straight yellow cardless game against Carolina. So her slate is right clean.
And you know, her yellow card situation may be okay, but her health is not 100%. Her knee's bothering her. She's had 3 surgeries over the years. It's cartilage damage in her knee. She said they will go in September and take a peek and see what's going on. But she says she has a lot of pain right now, and all these games in the last week on top of one another haven't really given her a chance to rest.
Yeah, without a doubt, the schedule in the late going has been jam-packed as Whalen tries to chip it ahead out of the 18, and now Katia back to Venturini. She'll try the right side, but Emily Jans is back to help out. Now getting by Whelchel through. Cece, can she get a shot off? Whalen gets the boot in. Timely tackle by Sara Whalen to thwart the attempt from CC. Battle continues in the midfield with Carey Dorn, the defensive midi for Bay Area. Now Katia. Trying to see if she can deceive Ronnie fair, but Kristy Whelchel sliding in to get a touch on that and concede a corner.
And there's already been some big defense by the Power. You can see this right here. Sara Whalen replacing Kristy Pierce, who tore her ACL, stepping into the backfield after playing midi pretty much whole year. She's doing a great job. I talked to her about it. She said it's a natural position for her. She plays here with the national team. She's comfortable.
It's a nice swinging corner that Gal brings down, but doesn't quite hold on to. And it was Thori Staples Bryan trying to get a foot in there as well. And that was one of the concerns I know the coaches had against Carolina, is a number of balls that you would think Gal would hold on to. She's kind of knocking them down in front first and then grabbing them on that second chance. That could be dangerous.
You have to wonder if it comes down to her sore wrist. We don't really know how bad it is. It's nothing that we talk about, but you have to wonder if she's changing her style a bit because of it.
It's one the coaches try not to talk about a lot either. I think they try and deflect attention away from that. As Oceguera serving in down the right side and trying to reach up to that and get ahead on it was Julie Murray.
And you saw that matchup between Julie Murray, Sara Whalen, a familiar one. One Sara looks forward to shutting down all game long.
Well, support the WUSA and your favorite teams in style. Purchase official league and team merchandise by visiting WUSA.com, your link to women's professional soccer. Hop on the web. Not only great apparel and merchandise, stats, schedules, the whole works. WUSA.com.
Sara, one of the leaders on this Power team, an allocated player. She said her team is finally having fun. Week or so, the last 2 weeks, a couple wins under their belt. So it's a whole new team. Regardless of the outcome, they're having fun, they're playing better, they're more of a cohesive unit.
Oceguera and serving a long ball, and Cal Hong is the center fielder, pulls it in. Let's check out on the sidelines with Brad Feldman.
Well, you folks talked about Sara Whalen's comfort level at the right back position. One thing Pat Farmer talked to her about before the game was this matchup with Julie Murray, and he said he got the sense that Say was very confident about going up against Murray. We could also see Whalen move up into the midfield later in the game as circumstances dictate. As for Carey Connors, who's in there at the right midfield position, Farmer wants to see her pressured Brandy Chastain down that right channel.
Espacet playing it ahead, and nobody able to latch on to the end of it, so Chastain ahead to CC. Continues to play it up for Murray before Fettig steps in.
And Joe, it's a good point that Brad made about Connors on Chastain, but really what they're looking to do is to send Kerry into that space that Brandy leaves behind her because she's so offensive-minded and goes forward all the time. She's tough to beat one-on-one. You don't want to do that. But when Brandy takes off and goes upfield, they really want to get the ball out to the right side and expose that empty space.
Bay Area back in possession. We have a pretty stiff wind, and right now in the first half, that wind at the back of Bay Area.
So much of this game has been psychological for the Power. They have the skills, they have the manpower. It's just coming out and playing a full 90 minutes. And as I mentioned before, they didn't do it the last game against the Bay Area. Looking to do it tonight, and they know the importance of coming out and getting on the attack early on. That they have yet to do. They need to get into the attack and get some shots off early on and establish their offensive game.
And here's this battle in the midfield, and you can see both teams something to play here as, boy, coming in hard was Kelly Lindsey against Tiffany Milbred.
That's the type of game Kelly Lindsey likes to play out of Notre Dame.
Well, I don't think that Bay Area doesn't have something to play for. If they get a win in one of their 2 remaining games, they'll clinch home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, which would give them at least a second-place finish.
And the other way to look at that is a win tonight. They can really rest some players and rest some of their starters to get ready for the playoffs in their last and final match.
Because really, if you finish in first, yeah, you can say, yeah, it's great we finished in first place, but it really doesn't give you a great benefit. You're going to play Philadelphia, New York, maybe a San Diego can slip in, but the way the top 4 are right now, I think all 4 teams have had a pretty hard-fought season, somewhat comparable, so you can maybe pick and choose. Maybe you play better against Philly than New York or something like that, but there's no great bonus for being in first place because the championship game we know is going to be in Boston.
I guess unless you're Boston. But then even you're not playing on your home field.
Bay Area does finish up against the Atlanta beat on Thursday. There's now Milbrook trying to see if she can get by Kelly Lindsey. Actually, the foul goes against Milbrook, shoulder-to-shoulder contact, and then a little push by Tiffany.
And that's exactly what Tiffany doesn't want to see happen. She's coming back in the midfield. She's receiving the ball with 4 or 5 defenders still facing her. Bay Area did a great job last time against her, really squeezing her into the midfield. She knows she needs to stay high and not come back for those balls.
Katia tries to drive it across, but that's knocked out. And a corner kick coming up for Bay Area, their second of the night. A high swerving kick. Chastain goes up for the header and puts it wide.
One of the things that Randy Chastain is famous for, not only the PK, but off the corner, utilizing her head. She's so aggressive. She's so smart finding that ball. And that's exactly what CC's looking for, far post. Looks like she got in just a bit early on her run. Tougher to get up to get a piece of that one.
Chastain rises to the occasion right there. And can't quite save it from the touchline. Throw in for New York.
You can see the brace on Brandy's leg. Sprained knee. Old injury. She's had numerous surgeries on that knee. More precautionary brace she's wearing. She's really a tremendous story. So everybody knows her from the World Cup. She's a player who played in the first World Cup in '91 and then got cut for the team in '95. She persevered, she didn't give up, and she made the team in the '96 Olympic Games. Such a tremendous story. Now look what she's done.
Top of the 18, well, the foul goes against Bay Area on that challenge in the box. A free kick for New York as Tisha Venturini moving back into a midfield role.
Another national team member, World Cup veteran. And you can see the Bay Area, Joe, liking to put the ball in the air. Very good with their head. And that's one area that New York is somewhat weak. They don't have a player that's just tremendous in the air.
It's supposed to be Anka on those plays in the 18. I think part of the problem there, as we've mentioned, you talked about the great midfielders on some of the teams, CC here in Bay Area, Hager Risa in Carolina. They need that player who can give a target player like Anka the service, instead relying once again on some of the one-to-one efforts of Tiffany Milbrook. Tries to again use her speed to capitalize, but Thori Bryan's there.
Take a look at this. Sara Whalen doing exactly what she needs to do out of the backfield. Coming forward. Just a perfect pass to Tiffany Milbrook. But boy, did a nice job defending against her and really squeezing her out of that lane to get the ball.
Deflected down off Kristy Whelchel. Whalen trying to send it upfield. CC and Connors collide. Kerry Connors sticking with it, but the Brazilian CC shows some of her skill right there. Oceguera now moving up the right flank. Jan's watching her. Now Katia. She'll take the left-footed shot right into Gal, and again, he punches it down in front of her. That time, though, nobody nearby to threaten her.
But take a look at this shot. There's no reason that she should get this shot off. She's all alone there with so much time and space. Boy, she should not be given that space. Ronnie Fair's got to step up at the top of the box and not allow her the time to shoot.
And Stauffer knocked it away from Cece Espeseth after it. Whalen right into Chastain, and Julie Murray trying to get by Whalen, and gives her a shove. Down she goes, and then tripped over Sara. She tried to get by. Well, don't miss the first ever WUSA Championship game, Saturday, August 25th, 2 p.m. Eastern at Foxborough Stadium up in Massachusetts. To get your tickets to this historic event, call Ticketmaster 617-931-2222 or log on to WUSA.com. And again, if you can't get up to Foxborough, TNT will have the match on August 25th. LaKeysia Beene brings that one in, and she has been tough to score against, no doubt about it. 6 consecutive shutouts during this WUSA season and a record 624-minute shutout streak.
We talked about Pat Farmer's keys to the game. For the Bay Area, their keys, they feel like it's a slow field. They have to get the tempo going right off the bat very early. I'd say it's 50-50 so far, and to implement their style. And that's really playing a 4-3-3, playing tough, playing a defensive sound game, and getting the ball up top to their 3 front runners. They've done a good job at that, and creating high percentage chances. They felt like early in the season they weren't doing that. Now they're doing it better.
See, and Kristina Nanez getting ahead of the play here at the very edge of your screen. You can see already behind that back line when the ball is played and the flag goes up offside against the Power. This is a Bay Area team, Ellen, that's really turned things around. I mean, they started out the season with 4 losses in their first 6 games. They were in last place. Well, they have only lost once in the previous 13 now coming into this match.
And if you ask the players about the pulse of the team, a lot of it is just finding their scoring touch. Julie Murray, Katia, they've really been able to find the back of the net by creating better high percentage chances. They were shooting every time they got a chance last time. Now they're more selective, and that's really been the turnaround. Their defense has always been solid.
Well, about 30 yards out, it looks like Chastain will take this all alone, and just as Tiffany Milbert can be dangerous from this situation, so can Brandi Chastain. Puts it right into Gal. Had it played perfectly.
Gal makes those look easy. I've said it all season long. She's so smart. Her intuition is perfect, right on every time when we saw it there by reading that direct kick.
You can see the shot advantage early on right now to Bay Area, but through 20 minutes, you can also see by that total neither team has really forced the issue.
They're playing against a player in Katia, who has the most shots on goals in the whole WUSA.
On the cross, and Connors won't be able to get to that one. Chastain, Venturini, touching over, trying to find Murray. And now Jans battling Oceguera. And that, they say, deflects off of Gina Oceguera.
Emily Jans really coming on strong in the second half of the season. Her goal today, she said, head coach Pat Farmer talked to her prior to the game and said he needs her to be a little more feisty. When she would come off the bench and she wasn't a starter for the Power, she'd come in, high pressure, slide, tackle, do everything she needed to get to the ball. She has not been doing that in the last couple of games since she's been a starter, and he'd like to see more of that out of her today.
Seems to think that some of the players trying to pace themselves for the full 90 minutes. You'd rather just see them hell-bent for leather for the time that they're on the field.
And especially in Emily Jans, when you're on the road, you don't bring as many substitutions, so they rely on her for 90 minutes. But when you're at home, he needs her to go hard. You know, maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 45 minutes, whatever it is. There are players on the bench that can come in if she goes gung-ho for those full minutes that she's in.
Being at home, you definitely have the same 4 substitutions, but a little more options available to you. You don't have to plan it out as far in advance. And talk to some of the coaches, they say it's good and bad. The benefits on the road is you've really thought about how the game may go and who you might want to bring in, where you may be a little more haphazard at home and just saying, oh, let's pick this one on the, and not give it as much forethought. Now Sara Whalen moving to the top of the 18 off Kelly Lindsey. Strong on that tackle.
Boy, Kelly Lindsey, only 21 years old, playing like a seasoned veteran, just stepping up and challenging Sara Whalen.
Cece to Katia. Watched by Ronnie Fair, but Katia swings it across, chipped out, and Espeseth will take that as Christina Bell not able to control the cross from Katia. We're at Mitchell Field for the New York Power and the Bay Area CyberRays. WUSA Soccer here on MSG. Joe Thomas and Ellen Weinberg and Brad Feldman on the sidelines here this evening, as Bay Area in the gray with the purple trim, Power in the black.
Play together!
No score yet as we are midway through this first half of play. Glad you could join us as Whalen drives it into Julie Murray. Adelaide, Australia. South Australia.
Sara Whalen playing in the backfield, but she's getting forward. Almost getting forward more than she had been as a midfielder. Possibly more of a natural position for her.
Oh, Kelly Lindsey. Boy, got that favor return from Tiffany Milbert after the strong tackle against Whalen before. Now Venturini tries to backheel it to Katia after the ball got tangled up in her feet. Jans finds Espeseth for the Power. Connors, Milbert calling for it down the right side, but Connors cut it back into the middle. Nanez. Connors. He's going to send that in, and too strong right to the top of the 6. LaKeysia Beene will easily take that.
Take a look at this tackle on Sara Whalen. She does exactly what she needs to do. She runs at the defender with speed. But Kelly Lindsey, a Grow Espeseth-like tackle. Now that's a tackle that maybe Grow would have gotten a yellow card for.
Whalen. Milbert backing into Lindsey. And now cuts to the middle of the park. Plays through the seam, finding Nanez. Did she get the shot up? No, charging by was Kelly Lindsey.
What a pretty pass by Tiffany Milbert. She's going one direction. She cuts back. She sees things that other players can't see. Just perfectly placed on Kristen Arnas, all alone, but she can't collect the ball. And Kelly Lindsey does a great job defending her and using her speed and just running it down.
Just too much speed from Kelly Lindsey right there as she now clears it out of the 18.
Kelly Lindsey was the first pick overall in the first round of the college draft. Tremendous player out of Notre Dame. Just a real special central defender as we're getting to see here tonight.
Gal blast that towards the side, brought down by Connors. Chastain knocks that across the sideline. Stoffer all the way back as Venturini was pressuring. Now Ronnie Fair, who, by the way, celebrating her 23rd birthday today, which means that her sister Lori's also celebrating her 23rd birthday.
Oh, to be 23 again. It seems like just yesterday for both you and I, right?
Well, Ronnie Fair on this club. She's a twin. Got Jacqui Little on the Bay Area roster. Her sister Skylar plays for Washington, also twins.
Pretty neat when your twin sister can also play professional soccer in the first ever women's professional U.S. Soccer League. 4 sets of twins.
And there's the Fairs and the Littles.
Maybe that, but
Tegens,
I was going to say, maybe that
Janet
could become
Margaret.
a draft, too. You can draft the college, the global,
Twins.
and the twins.
Whalen tangled up with Brandy Chastain. This will be a throw-in the attacking third for Bay Area. And finding Murray. She plays it right into the box. Cal will bring it in and quickly play it out to Ronnie Fair.
That's the thing with New York. You know that Tiffany Milbert's very unpredictable. But with the Bay Area, you have Katia up front, who's very unpredictable. You have Julie Murray, who's very unpredictable. And you have Cece in the midfield on the ball right now, who's so unpredictable.
And she finds Katia. Little give and go back to Cece ahead looking for Bell, but it's Fettig that'll send that up into the midfield. Nanez now battles for it. And it's Bryan who plays to Kelly Lindsey. Katia nodding that along, and Julie Murray trying to run onto that, but Sara Whalen again sliding in. Gives up the corner before she'll give up a scoring chance.
And that's what makes Julie Murray so dangerous. Her speed. She's so smart off the ball. She reads the lanes correctly. And she utilizes her speed, but it's a nice matchup with Sara Whalen, who equally has just as much speed.
Cece will take this. She prefers to hit it with the left foot, so this will swing out. Top of the 18, and Gal will have to punch it away. Chastain lets it go by. Oceguera takes a shot. It went right into Brandy Chastain, so Oceguera gets back on the end of it, but Connors takes it away.
Boy, was that dangerous, though, that corner kick.
There's a lot of coaches and even players who prefer to have the player swing that ball out away from where the keeper can come and get it. Maybe give your players rushing on a chance to really meet it with a powerful header. Now Milbrick. Waiting for Jans, and Jans makes the run. Stays onside, cuts it across. Can Stoffer get there? Right over the ball. Beene didn't get it either.
We're doing a great job on that overlapping run to get into the attack.
Oh, let's go Espeseth. My mistake. I said Emily Jans. Now cut back over to the right side here. Trying to help out. Now up a header, and that's going to glance wide. And
take a look at this chance by the New York Power. That's what they need. They need their midfielders to overlap and get forward. Pro Espeseth does a nice job at that. Sliding cross and somewhat dangerous, but Emily Jans, you can't see on the far side there, just can't get to the ball.
And there is Espeseth, and then after that ball went by Beene on the counterattack, well, they're going up and trying to get that header.
Christina Bell.
Up and down, and she seems okay now. Up, trying to blink off, I think, the effects of hitting the ground is Fettig.
I hate to say it, but she got her bell run there. No pun intended. She's great in there. We saw just a few minutes ago on that corner kick, that was her that challenged Gao Hong in the air.
Now Cece. Through for Katia. Whalen there. Out to Venturini. She tries to slide by, but it is Espeseth that'll boot it upfield. And one little change that has been made here for the Power. Carey Connors and Emily Jans have flip sides of the field. Connors now on the left side, Jans on the right.
You have to wonder why they did that. Connors more offensive, Jans possibly a little more defensive to track Brandy Chastain coming through.
We'll wait and see how that matchup plays out. Find out more about upcoming events and about your favorite New York Power players, and keep up throughout the playoffs in the offseason. nypower.com. We're home for the Power on the World Wide Web. Milbrick. Side travel, leave it for Ronnie there. Stoffer, a little push from behind. She takes it. Free kick for the Power.
And Emily Stoffer, she's somewhat of a quiet player out there in the midfield for the Power, but one thing that she does well, and the reason she's in the starting lineup, is she's composed and she's not afraid to hold on to the ball.
And through, it's Milbrick, chips it along. Oh, Jans decided to stay out for it. Must have been called off that by Milbrick. He chips it right into Chastain. And not a bad chance. If she can chip it over and find Nanez to use her height advantage, and if not, chances are it's going to deflect out for a corner, which is exactly what happened.
But you have one of the top defenders on one of the top forwards. And the Bay Area knows that's not good enough to shut down Tiffany Milbrick. So what happens? CC rushes back to double. That's respect.
Nell Fettig will take the corner. Drives it low, and Nanez steps in front to keep possession for the Power. Fettig moves away from Bell. Now tries to cut it in. Beene coming out, and she'll take this after it deflected off of Cece.
Not what Fettig was looking to do. She has various options, but a driven ball low is not one of the game plans for the New York Power. She has kicked the corners all year long, and they've been just perfect. So One not-so-perfect corner is okay.
CC. Trying to get through a crowd of people and slides it through. Bell can't get onto the end of it because Whalen knocks it away. Nanez stumble, it gives Chastain a chance to regain possession for Bay Area. Venturini blasted into Connors, and now Milbrick. See if she can
Chances one.
pressure Kelly Lindsey here. And now knocked out. Let's check down on the sidelines with Brad Feldman.
Guys, Emily Jans had a breakthrough game a week ago Thursday against Boston when she scored off the Tiffany Milbrick cross. She finally got her first WUSA goal, and Pat Farmer's always been a fan of Emily's. He tried unsuccessfully to recruit Jans to Penn State when she was a youth player. Now, Ellen talked about how Farmer wants Jans to keep that aggressiveness going now that she's a starter. If she does use up all her gas, Raven McDonald or Ann Nielsen should come in her place.
Julie Murray into the middle, finding Bell. Plays to Chastain. Gets right by Jans, and Chastain serves this across, but holding her ground well, Kristy Whelchel. Into Connor. She takes that hit in stride, in essence, and now Cece. Bell, Cece gets it back, but Jans will touch it to Fettig. The power to move it upfield. Up, poor touch by Whalen, gives it back to Bay Area. Approaching the 35-minute mark here at Mitchell Field. Chastain just touched it towards the 18, but Fettig intercepts. Milbrick. I'll try to get by Lindsey, and goes off of Lindsey. It'll be a throw-in for the power. Milbrick surveying, and really nobody to throw it to, and there's Stauffer.
You can see Stauffer well composed on the ball there.
Now Jans, she'll cut it across. Venturini knocks it away, but Whalen there for the power. Plays to Nanez. Out to Jans. Milbrick. Well, right at the top of the 18, and Jans too far wide of Milbrick and too much pace on it.
And that's twice for Jans there. She's a better player than she's showing in those last two plays. The ball's being played around nicely, and she just gives up possession. It's a game of ball possession. If she doesn't see anything and nobody's on her, she's got to hold on to the ball, use her own time and space rather than just give it away one time blindly. Every team has international players they drafted. Well, New York has to be pleased with the three they have, and it starts in goal with Gal Hahn. She's been just tremendous all year long.
Now Gro Espacet on Kristen Nanez, and the players kind of fallen through the cracks. Has been Ann Nielsen, the Danish international. Is now chipped ahead for Jans, but good tackle by Lindsey. Milbrick gets it back, floats it across. LaKeysia Beene quickly off her line to smother that.
Beene, 23 years old, starting keeper for the U21 national team. Another Notre Dame product. She's really come into her own since Jen Mead was injured and out for the whole season.
Bryan drives it upfield and out. Well, you talked about the international players, Ellen. Let's take a look at those foreign players that have really been making an impact in the WUSA. You can see Dagny Melgren leading the way with 10 goals for Boston, but Julie Murray right behind, and Katia on that list as well.
Not bad when you have 2 of the 5 players, top foreign scorers, and exciting ones at that. Then if you look at the assist leaders, CC leads the WUSA in assists.
Bay Area seems to have things well in hand between CC, Katia, and Julie Murray. This is Bell. Chips it through. Murray trying to see if she can get by Whelchel. Whelchel makes an initial stop. Murray tries to spin back to it. Now Bell coming to help out. Pushes to the byline. Squares it across. Katia going for the header. Bell will cover it up. Oh, Ronnie Fair did a nice job I think she felt she couldn't win that battle in the air, so she just tried to hold her ground and make it as difficult as possible for the Brazilian.
And when you're 5'2" and you know you're out-muscled there, you need to do something, and that's exactly what Ronnie Fair did. She held her ground strong and didn't let her get the position on her.
Cece. Oh, she'll play this ahead. Chipped along by Chastain, and she's not going to get on the end of that.
You know, Joe, with 2 games remaining for the Power, and you talk about the international flavor, I think it'll be really interesting with 1 year under their belt at the conclusion of the WUSA season to see what these international players do. Do they all stay? Do 90% of them stay? I know the ones here playing in New York have really enjoyed their experience.
Yeah, some signed longer-term contracts than others.
I asked Gro if she's done anything lately in New York, and she said, well, matter of fact, tomorrow we're going out with a friend of ours who's a New York policeman, and he's going to take us out in the police car and show us around. There's certain areas we want to see. I thought there's a lot of things I want to do in New York. Why are you choosing that?
Well, maybe there's some areas they really want to see that they feel they'd be safer seeing them in the police car.
They've really enjoyed their
for the
experience. They've seen plays, dinners, you name it, they've done it.
Rose a tough player. She wants to see the tough parts of town. Not everything's wine and roses. Gal keeps this alive as Katia not able to get that on goal.
Bro has been one of Pat Farmer's favorite players, true leader. He said everybody in this league uses this term too much and too loosely, and that's a true professional. But he said Bro Esposek is a true professional.
Now Fettig had Lindsey over to knock that away before Nanez can get there. Whalen goes away from Murray. Now Kerry Connors. Fettig. Drive this upfield right in the middle, but Thori staples Bryan there. The battle continues in the midfield where Cece touches away. Fair, though, back in the other direction for New York. Whalen wins the battle with Murray. Chastain intercepting for Bay Area. Katia with speed into the 18. Now she was in an offside position after it was broken up, so the Power regained possession.
And this is where the Power's looking to expose this right side of the field. Chastain's still working her way back. They've got to do that counterattack faster.
Now Stauffer goes down the other side. Connors looking to get to this Gina Oceguera there. And she'll let it go for the throw-in. We're in the waning minutes here of the first half of play. An important game for both clubs.
Yeah, sit down here. We'll sit down here to the easy. Yeah, we got to pick that first.
Throwing to the Power. And they're trying to go to Milbrick. Now Venturini for Bay Area. Bell. All the way back in the midfield to receive that. Now Chastain has to knock it away from Stauffer. Long ball upfield by Thori staples Bryan. That's going to roll out. Power with possession. And we talk about it being a very important game, and nobody knows that better than Power captain Tiffany Milbrick. And a foul there on Bay Area, and there's Milbrick charging away as one game will get the Power into the, one win I should say, will get the Power into the playoffs. Come either tonight against Bay Area or next Saturday against the Washington Freedom.
You want to get it done tonight. A tie possibly could get him in, but then they had to rely on what San Diego does and what Philadelphia does.
Well, SBSF charging into the 18 there, but LaKeysia Beene out there first.
What's Groh doing up there?
Well, getting involved.
And you know, that's what's great about her. If she sees her teammates not getting involved, she's a leader by example. She's also a vocal leader, but we're seeing her lead by example just there.
Fettig out to fair. Played by Connors, and now Kelly Lindsey.
Boy, I've been impressed by Kelly Lindsey so far tonight. Defensively, she's been all over the ball.
Now Cece getting away from Tiffany Milbury. Move for Bell, but Bell can't quite control it. Poor first touch there. Carey Dorn knocks it away. And now Cece.
Look how technical she is on the ball. She's so well skilled, so composed.
And Stauffer, well, spins away from Katia, back to Ronnie Fair. Coming up at halftime, well, we'll get a look at part 2 of a day in the life with Sara Whalen. We'll chat with head coach Pat Farmer and first half highlights as well, all coming up at the half.
Anka working hard. Head coach Pat Farmer saying he's really impressed with her work rate as of late, and we can see that sliding, getting a little more a little more physical out there, and that's what they need from her up front.
Well, substitution coming up here for Bay Area as Julie Murray coming off, and checking in her place is Kim Clark. And Murray looked like she was limping a bit as she made her way over to the bench.
It'll be interesting to see why that move was made.
Well, 9-goal scorer, you don't necessarily want to pull her off the field. And we get the whistle from our referee here this evening, Rachel Wu, as we have come to the end of the first half of play. And it is the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays. Well, there's only been 1 goal between these two teams in the season series. We don't have one yet tonight. Halftime, 0-0 between the Power and the CyberRays.
Jamie Bohan owns a Hyundai Sonata.
We looked at consumer ratings and all of the features that came with the vehicle.
This is Jamie's second Hyundai.
Very luxurious, very dependable.
It comes with the freedom of America's best warranty and more standard features than Camry or Accord.
It's a really fun car to drive because the engine is very powerful.
The Hyundai Sonata at $15,799. It's a lot more car. Hyundai is a charter sponsor of the WUSA.
Nobody understands your passion to play like Sports Illustrated for Women magazine. Whether you're trying to make the team or just staying fit, SI for Women is what you want. Heroes, inspiration, nutrition, training, and great gear. Now there's a special offer for WUSA fans. Call now to get a free preview issue and be your best on and off the field. Sports Illustrated for Women. Call 1-800-541-PLAY.
Every day, you ask questions about life on Long Island. How much are homes in your neighborhood selling for? How will new technologies change your life? How can you protect your family's health? Look for the answers you need every day in Newsday. Newsday, it's where you live.
Hi, I'm Mike Piazza. More than 4 million Americans are infected with hepatitis C. If you received a blood transfusion prior to 1992, used injection drugs, or snorted cocaine, you could potentially be at risk. Tattoos and body piercing with contaminated supplies and equipment are also risk factors. Call 1-800-GO-LIVER to get the hepatitis information you need to know now.
In a place where battles are fought, only the strong survive. And within this arena, a defender will protect, an attacker will drive, a sharpshooter will create, and a warrior will rise. This summer, witness and celebrate how the East was won. Season tickets are on sale now. Call 212-465-6073 or visit nyliberty.com.
New York Power Soccer is brought to you by Optimum Online. High-speed internet through your cable TV line. If only everything were as fast as Optimum Online, see it at the Whiz. And by Hyundai, proud to be a charter sponsor of the WUSA. Hyundai is backed by the freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage.
Welcome back to Mitchell Field. The Power and CyberRays tied at 0-0 at the half. Brad Feldman here, joined by Power coach Pat Farmer. Coach, 2 of your 3 keys, attacking wide and playing with confidence. How do you feel you held up in the first half?
We're 0 for 2, to be honest. I think we didn't do very well playing wide. All the sort of 50-50 serves are down the middle, and I think there are 3 or 4 players that aren't playing with much confidence. I think that's disappointing considering the match that they came off against Carolina and then the match with Boston. I think that, yeah, I just think there are a couple, 3 people that are not interested in having the ball themselves. I think that's too bad.
Tammy Pearman and Jen Lawler warming up on the sidelines. What changes might we expect to see?
They're going to go for Stauffer and for Carey Connors. I think Stauf's playing fine. I just think that she's pretty tired, and that I think Jen's likely to shoot the ball a few times. She's been hitting it really well. And Tammy Pearman, I think, is a better physical force, and we're actually getting out-muscled among other things, and Tammy's intent on getting forward, so we'll make those 2 changes at the half.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck in the second half.
Sure, thank you.
Joe Tollison up in the booth. Back to you.
And some very frank answers from Power head coach Pat Farmer on what he wants his team to do and expects in the second half of play. Well, we had some action yesterday. The Washington Freedom and the Atlanta Beat. And this was a game that, well, for the Washington Freedom, they really controlled things early on through much of the game. They take the lead on the goal 1-0, but the Atlanta Beat have a player by the name of Charmaine Hooper. Ellen Weinberg.
Boy, what can you say? But Hooper is super once again. She is tremendous, scoring 2 huge goals for her team. She is just great. They are in. They have clinched a berth in the playoffs.
Charmaine Hooper, 2 goals in the final 10 minutes to lift Atlanta over the Washington Freedom. So Atlanta and Bay Area, 34 points apiece, and they will meet in their season finales on Thursday. You can see the Power, well, right behind with 29 points. And Philadelphia, look at the games remaining. That's where the Charge really have a big advantage, although they're going to play on Monday, Thursday, and then next weekend as well. So a busy final week of the season for the Philadelphia Charge. Well, halftime between the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays. We are scoreless. When we come back, well, we'll once again step into the life of Sara Whalen.
It's been a showcase for the world's greatest athletes and celebrated performers, and now it can be yours. Madison Square Garden can be the setting for receptions, trade shows, bar mitzvahs, and even weddings. Whether you need the expo center, theater, restaurant, or arena, each historic venue can be the place for a unique event. We'll provide a team of special event professionals and world-class caterers. So when you're planning a reception, stockholder meeting, or trade show, we can transform your event into a garden party.
My kids call it my game gear. If I miss a shot, she'll probably be like, oh, stink.
Get in there, get in there! Oh, shoot!
Bet, can you get those? She blames me for her height. She makes me feel tall. She's a fun kid, fun to be around. And that's a whole lot more important than the basketball to us.
More angles, more insight. MSG is more than just a game.
Now, I love sports, but you gotta play the game that's right for you. Same with computer and video games. That's why parents should make sure each game is right for their kids. How? Check the rating. Every game box has a rating symbol that suggests what age the game is best for, and a content label that tells you what's in the game. When you check the rating, you know what to expect. See? You gotta play the game that's right for you.
Back at Mitchell Field as the lights are on and the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays scoreless at the break. Well, we got to see Sara Whalen with the modeling career last week. Well, now practice is over, and who says you can't go home?
Okay, so I'm showered now, I'm changed, I'm feeling fresh, coming right from practice, out to the house on Greenlawn, Long Island, where I grew up in. And when we're here, we're going to meet, my dog, obviously, as well as my mother, who raised me for 25 years. I don't know how she did it, but I think she's home, so let's see. Mom! Hello!
Hey, Sara, how are you? Welcome.
Great. Well, here we are. This is actually the room that I grew up in. And it's funny, it looks a lot smaller now. But anyway, there's a lot of fun things in here, which I'm actually kind of proud of. I think my mom is, too. And, this one in particular, this is Player of the Year award from college, which is actually a pretty good honor. My UConn jersey, which they retired, which I think it was like only the second one that they retired at UConn. And this is what we used to call the computer room, as cool as that is. And this is kind of where we keep like the really fun stuff. This actually is an awesome picture that we got after the World Cup, which is, this is us on the line as the PKs are being taken, and it's right after Brandy scored, and they just took this picture of us, and it's just, it's cool because if you look at it, it's everyone's true personalities coming out, and really nothing's being held back, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about it, so that's definitely one of my favorite pictures. This is the cover of Time magazine it came out a few days after we won the World Cup in '99, and it's just our celebration after Brandy Chastain, that's her right there, after she scored the penalty kick to win over China. This one is a blow-up of the Sports Illustrated Sports Women of the Year, which is, I think, an amazing honor for women to be on the cover of a magazine like Sports Illustrated, which is normally geared towards men. My family's definitely been extremely important to me. They've provided, a lot of comfort, a lot of support, and they've been there when things aren't that great. And through the World Cup is wonderful, and the Olympics were wonderful, but those roads were very difficult for me. And, there was times when I thought I was going to give up, and, I just couldn't deal with it anymore, and I couldn't fight anymore. And they were there just to be positive and just remind me that it's a sport, and remind me that I have them to come home to always, no matter what happens.
Some more insight of Sara Whalen, and she is back home playing in front of the home crowd, and she'd like to be playing in front of the crowd at Foxborough Stadium. August 25th, 2 o'clock is the inaugural WUSA Championship game. 617-931-2222. You can call Ticketmaster or log on to WUSA.com for tickets. And, of course, if you can't make it to Foxborough, catch the match on TNT at 2 o'clock, August 25th from Foxborough. Again, no score between the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays at halftime, but we do have some first-half highlights, some good chances, some good tackles as well. So stay with us on MSG.
Romance Classics is now Women's Entertainment. But it's not just a new name.
I think it's all about the individual liberty of everyone.
It's a new idea.
Which is a one-stop destination for entertainment.
It's a celebration of all the things we are.
It's a destination station where I can relax, relate, and release.
Call your cable or satellite company and tell them what we want. Women's Entertainment.
Homeowners, call Garden State Brick Base Windows and Exteriors and get a new house without having to move or spend a fortune. That's right. You can give your home a new look and feel, any look you desire. And it just takes one phone call. For years, we've been beautifying thousands of area homes, making them more energy efficient while increasing their value. Brick, stucco, stone, siding, and windows. Quality craftsmanship, most work done within a week. All maintenance-free and fully guaranteed. Let us help you design the perfect look for your home. Call Garden State Brick Base Windows and Exteriors. To find out if our unique products are right for you, call now for a free telephone consultation. It just takes a few minutes. There's absolutely no obligation. 100% financing available. So why wait when a simple call can get you a great new house without spending a fortune?
Call 1-800-647-1600 and ask about our current special discounts. Shop from home with our exclusive free telephone consultation. Call 1-800-647-1600.
This copyrighted telecast may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the expressed written consent of Women's Professional Soccer.
Welcome back to Mitchell Field as halftime between the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays. Well, the fans still excited. We still have another half to go as right now it is scoreless between these two teams. Bay Area trying to clinch home field advantage, and Ellen Weinberg, the Power, just trying to see if they can clinch a playoff spot.
Big time for the Power, and we heard from head coach Pat Farmer. He is not pleased with the way his team played the first half. It'll be interesting to see if they come out the second half and play harder. You can see some of the highlights here. Katia, one of their top forwards, getting off a good shot, but Galhon coming up strong. At the other end, it has been Kelly Lindsey playing strong. We see it there defensively. Then Grow Estes with the nice overlap in the cross. Emily Stauffer tries to get in, but just can't get a piece of it. And then Joe back at the other end. It's Katia again.
And halftime highlights brought to you by your New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Hyundai dealers. Well, Gal Hong has kept the Power in this match. We'll see if they can get on the scoreboard in the second half. It's coming up next on MSG.
Michael Edo owns a Hyundai Elantra.
I drive 1,000 miles a week, and the gas mileage is outstanding.
Kiplinger's Personal Finance says the Elantra is the best new car in its class. It comes with the freedom of America's best warranty and a long list of standard features, including front and side airbags and air conditioning.
It drove like a much more expensive car.
The Hyundai Elantra at $12,799, it's a solid value. Hyundai is a charter sponsor of the WUSA.
Coffee? No, thanks. I think I'll get my own.
Perhaps he's compelled by the sumptuous aroma. Or does he desire the rich, luscious taste crafted in Europe? Maybe it's because he makes Javalia his way, delicious every time. To experience the pleasure of Javalia Cafe yourself, call 1-800-447-1127. We'll deliver 2 boxes of our fine European coffee for just $14.95, with a free thermal carafe coffee maker to ensure you brew and keep Javalia at its freshest. There's no further obligation. If you enjoy Javalia, we'll send more whenever you like. Call 1-800-447-1127. Because while you won't find Javalia Cafe on any corner, you will find it a pleasure to come home to.
In a place where battles are fought, only the strong survive. And within this arena, a defender will protect, an attacker will drive, a sharpshooter will create, and a warrior will rise. This summer, witness and celebrate how the East was won. Season tickets are on sale now. Call 212-465-6073 or visit nyliberty.com.
Back at Mitchell Field as we are underway in the second half between the New York Power and the Bay Area CyberRays, and the Power in black starting. Milbert to Aranez, pushes out wide for Emily Jans. And Jans cutting it across, and here taken down in the 18 by Brandy Chastain, trying to get out of trouble, pushes to Gina Oceguera, and she'll send it upfield. And well, Mary Connors and Emily Jans had switched in the first half. Well, now Jans back on the left side with Tammy Pearman checking into the match for the Power, and indeed that move has been made by head coach Pat Farmer, as back in the 18 and Kristen Aranez still down.
You can see Brandy Chastain on Krista Arness just colliding in hard. Anka went down. Here's a look at this injury. Again, Chastain gets caught with the ball where she doesn't want the ball. She knocks it out, but she's going with full force, and she just runs right into Anka. Possibly her back. She suffered from a sore back earlier in the year. She's missed several games because of it. And something as simple as that, when you fall hard on your back, can really re-aggravate it.
Slow getting up and limping as well, and that part to be because of the stiffness in the back. We'll have to see what that situation is as she tries to get over to the sideline. We haven't seen a move made quite yet to put somebody in her place. So for the time being, the Power will play 10 against 11. And there we see Jen Lawler, who checked in for Emily Stauffer at the start of the half. And, of course, Tammy Pearman in for Carey Connors.
And those are players that are not regular bench players. They've been in and out of the starting lineup in Jen Lawler and Tammy Pearman.
Well, Nanez decides to stay on the field and had an opportunity there. Now Lawler playing for Milbritt. Down towards the end line and tripped up as Thori Staples Bryan carrying it upfield for Bay Area. Whelchel.
Well, Joe, this is kind of a bold statement for me to make, but I think this is the most important half for the New York Power. I think if they can come out and play really strong and get the win here, it'll be the maker for their season. I think if they come out and don't play strong here, psychologically it's going to be a real blow.
And they really put pressure on the Power in their final game against Washington. They have lost both prior meetings to the Freedom this season, although Washington now without much to play for except some pride as Jen Lawler goes down there. But as you mentioned, the importance of this match, and it's known, of course, by Power captain Tiffany Milbritt.
The team feels that if we win tonight, it's huge. It's huge for us. I think right now there's no doubt about it. The feeling in the locker room that this is probably the hugest game of the year for us.
An interesting thing, Joe, about that, if you've watched these games all year, if you've ever talked to Tiffany Milbritt, she's a very even-keeled, even-leveled player who never puts that kind of pressure on her team. So this really must mean do or die for the New York Power.
Well, Lawler up seems okay. Esposeth for the throw-in. Thought she'd just go to Pearman now. Looking for Milbritt. Has to touch it away. Katia back to Oceguera. Esposeth, Jans, ahead Milbritt, pushes out for Esposeth. She'll play it right in on LaKeysia Beene, but holds her position well and gathers that in.
And we see Groh here limping a bit. We talked about her knee being sore, but she's a player, and Pat Farmer knows it and loves it about her. He said, "Can you go?" And she goes, "I will play 90 minutes."
Say, how's that? Oh, I'll be okay.
He said a lot of players will give you a kind of a short, fresh answer like, "Yes, I can play." She really thinks about it. I can play.
And now Esposeth. Milbritt. All the way across the 18. Pearman tracking it down there. Marked by Chastain. Pearman, gets by Brandy Chastain, plays into space, but Venturini able to clear away for Bay Area. And now Fettig drives it into the 18. It was left for her by Sara Whalen. Jans to Lawler. Well, Lawler out for Pearman. I think she felt she was in an offside position. So she held up on that one. Well, San Diego takes care of Boston tonight by a score of 1-0. Tara Koleski with the lone goal for the Spirit.
And that's just a huge game because both of those teams were still in a hunt for one of the remaining 2 playoff berths here in the WUSA. San Diego is still in it with the win tonight. Boston, I think that may eliminate them, as my stats guys are giving me the final okay.
Boston down to 24 points, and you would think so as Philadelphia. Well, it will eliminate them as Milbritt, well, her charge towards the top of the 18 held up. Now Ronnie Fair on the back for New York. They'll be eliminated because Philadelphia and San Diego still have to play, and somebody will get points out of that.
So Boston officially eliminated, but boy, they did a good job in the last week for them to really keep their berth alive. It's got to be a disappointing loss for them tonight.
San Diego now with 26 points. They will still take on Philadelphia and finish up against Carolina. Carolina takes on Philadelphia as well. And the Sharks will play, of course, as we mentioned, San Diego. And close out against Boston.
And that a matchup that the Bay Area has to be pleased with. Millie and Thori Staples Bryan one of the top defenders. She played on the 95 World Cup team, an alternate on the 96 Olympic team out of NC State. A real true hard-nosed defender.
And knocked out by Tammy Pearman, so we can check down on the sidelines with Bryan Felt.
Joe, Ellen, I asked Coach Pat Farmer what he said to his team at halftime and whether he got in their ears a little bit. He said he didn't yell at the power, but he did say if they didn't get together, they're done for. Guys usually were a pain in his neck. This time he used us to his advantage. He put his 3 game keys that we ran at the beginning of the game on the blackboard. Attack wide, stop CC and Katia, and play with confidence. Put them on the blackboard and told his team that's what they had to do.
Decided not to play in and kind of caught up between maybe pushing out for Lawler. So now Bay Area on the counter. Katia, the hand shot. What a cannon and the goal. Oh, Katia unleashed from about 25 yards out and just curved it right by Hong. And Bay Area takes the lead 1-0. What a blast.
And look at that famous celebration that Katia is known for. That's one thing that makes Katia so brilliant. She's so unpredictable. She's a player that likes to get inside the box and shoot from there. But to take a shot from where she took this shot, she looked up, she saw the far post, and she said, you know what, I have a cannon. I'm going to just let it rip and catch Hong off guard. And that's exactly what she did. Look at that strike. On the move, she could not have struck that ball any better.
Touched the powder off, and the blast goes by Hong. Katia's 7th goal of the season in the 53rd minute. Bay Area with the lead 1-0, and they are that much closer to its mentioned home field advantage. But Tiffany Mildred just over the bar as she tries to answer a minute later.
And 1-0 isn't enough of a lead when you're playing a team like the New York Power and you have a player like Tiffany Mildred up front. All it takes is 1 strike, just like we saw with Katia. She struck the ball so well, and Tiffany Mildred, she did the same at the other end. Take a look at this chance by Tiffany Mildred. Right away, the ball comes in by Lily Jans. She's so smart on the ball. She takes on, she sees the space. Nice shot, but it just goes a little bit high.
Pearman knocks it ahead, and
somewhat of a disappointment. Sorry about that, Joe. And somewhat of a disappointment here as you look at the way they came out the second half, the pulse of the team. They were really flying. They had a lot of opportunities. The ball was down at the defensive end and the defensive third for the Bay Area. And then look what happens on one quick counterattack and an outside shot, and they get a surprise goal.
Now Milbrit trying to get by Thori Staples Bryan, and again can't do it. Bryan holds her ground. Fair knocks it out. Bay Area maintains possession, but boy, that's one of the harder shots we've seen this season in the run of play. Just a blast from Katia.
A lot of players won't strike the ball like that. She never missed a step. She was in full stride when she struck that ball. And those are things you can't teach.
Now Bell trying to play to CC in the middle. Now it's Jans to Milbrit. Milbrit hassled from behind by Tisha Venturini, and Kelly Lindsey. Gina Oceguera steps up and calmly knocks it away.
Oceguera playing in her 4th game for the Bay Area. A nice role player.
Now Esposette down the right side. Pearman trying to get free with her speed, can't quite do it.
And in my eyes, those runs have got to be inside of the defender.
Now Bell playing it wide. Pushing towards the end line, and it'll quite get there for Bay Area. That is Kim Clark. And tomorrow right here on MSG, Derek Jeter and the Yankees go up against the Anaheim Angels. Tune in at 12:30 for New York Marriott Marquis Yankees scorecard. Then the Yankees and Anaheim slug it out at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow afternoon, right here on MSG. Now Chastain. And Oceguera ends up losing the ball there, but she was waved by San Diego. picked up by Bay Area. And now into the 18. All Chastain trying to see what she can do. Gal dives in front of that and makes the stop. Brandy Chastain coming out of the back.
What a great move there by Gao Hong, coming out on Brandy Chastain. Brandy Chastain's game is getting forward like that. But Sara Whalen has to play that better. She knows that Brandy Chastain is going to get forward and continue forward until she receives that ball.
Now Esposette, well, didn't quite put it down the left side for Tiffany Milbridge. Bay Area back in possession.
For Esposette, one of those players with Tiffany Milbridge in a situation like this when you're down by a goal that is going to pick her team up and get them going.
Ronnie Fair now. Brought down by Venturini. Now Cece. Turns at midfield. And now Kim Clark. Whalen gets on her this time, knocks it away. Good play by Sara Whalen. And the power back upfield, Whalen. Nanez is going to touch out to Pearman. She'll drive it down into space. Can Milbrick. Well, wasn't able to get by Thori Staples Bryan, who plays it back to LaKeysia Beene. Now Pearman, Nanez, out to Jan. She'll step into this right into the arms of Beene.
And boy, we saw Emily Jan score just a huge goal against Boston, and that was opportunity number 2 for Emily Jans. On Kristen Arna's doing a great job winning that battle and getting the ball over to her. Jans right at the top of the box, but right into goaltender LaKeysia Beene. Here's a look at it again. She's all alone. She takes one touch, sets it up, fires it, but I don't think she ever looked to see where Beene was, and it went right into the arms of Beene.
Stopped by LaKeysia Beene, and that is Kelly Lindsey. Was up hobbled just a bit. I don't know if she took a knock or maybe just a cramp on a very muggy evening here in Unionville.
That would be a big loss for the Bay Area. Lindsey's just been tremendous tonight. Defensively, shutting down power forward time after time. Both Millie and Anka and Gro Esposette.
Milbert just plays it back to Beene, who had thrown it out when Kelly Lindsey was down and injured, and now Beene will drive it upfield. Here, Kim Clark plays down into the corner. Ronnie Fair gets there before Katia. Katia tried to just tightrope along the end line and can't quite pull it off. Well, we're joined now by New York Power General Manager Susan Marinoff. And Susan, well, still looking for that one win, but still some time here, almost a half hour to come back and maybe get it tonight, if not down in Washington. But overall, your impressions of this first season for the Power?
It's just exceeded expectations, I think, not just for us, but for the whole league. On every level, we have an incredible fan base, incredible sponsors, incredible media partners. It's been tremendous.
Susan, you talk about the incredible fan base. You look out here tonight, it's just unbelievable. I mean, the fans and the kids are out there an hour and a half prior to the game, and over 6,000, maybe 8,000 people here tonight. I haven't heard the official attendance.
I think we've exceeded 8,000 for tonight, so we're pretty thrilled about that. And hopefully this is not going to be our last game at home this year. But if by any chance it is, we've gone out with a great bang. So, but we'll hopefully be playing somewhere else if we're not here.
And Emily Jans now pushes ahead to Gro Esposette. The Power looking for the equalizing goal. Down into the corner, and Tiffany Milbert's fast down it, but not that fast.
She does it all, though. Has Millie been everything you expected her to be? I mean, you knew you were getting your allocated players, but, I mean, Millie has had to have exceeded everybody's expectations.
She's a leader on and off the field. There's nothing else that you can say. If she inspires, her talent, you can't even speak about her talent. She's just phenomenal. And the team just really looks to her for the leadership, both on and off. She's been terrific.
How much was this first season kind of a learning experience for everybody getting this league off the ground?
I think every step of the way was a learning experience. I think we've looked at some other leagues and tried to take from their positives, tried to learn what not to do from the negatives. I think there's still a lot of learning to do, and we're all aware of that, and we just want to improve upon whatever we can.
There's been one question that we want to leave you with here, maybe from a league-wide, and maybe you as the general manager of a single team, maybe not fit for the complete answer here, but there's 6 teams on the East, there's 2 on the West, and there's nobody in the middle. Is that going to come anytime soon, or are they going to wait before they expand?
I think in the appropriate amount of time. I don't think that the league wants to take jumps too fast and too far without really being prepared for it. But ultimately, I do, and I would imagine that they'd want some equal footing around the country.
Power General Manager Susan Marinoff joining us here as it is second half play between the Power and the Bay Area CyberRays, and right now the Power trying to see if they can find that goal that will bring them back into a 1-1 tie after a cannon shot from the Brazilian Katia, putting Bay Area out in front 1-0. Susan, thanks for a few moments
Thank
here,
you
and
very much.
thanks for a great season that we've had in this inaugural campaign for the New York Power.
And back to you.
Now Ronnie Fair. Edge of the box, and it is Whalen that came up to take that opportunity.
Well, they may be down by a goal, but if you're talking about opportunities right now, the New York Power has the advantage. They are all over the Bay Area.
Now that over Jans will get over to this as Kim Clark knocked it wide. Lawler out to Whalen. And we've seen some attempts on that left side of the Power defense by Bay Area, Ellen, but I don't think quite as much as maybe Pat Farmer was thinking it should be prepared for, and perhaps those players respecting Sara Whalen's talents maybe as much as Kristy Pierce, who normally would do that.
No, and that's the thing. When you're replacing a Kristy Pierce with another national team member and a player of the caliber of Sara Whalen, you don't have a lot to worry about.
Bay Area moving over to the right side of their attack. And it is Whelchel making the tackle. The foul goes against her. Power will restart.
Whelchel's done a nice job, Joe, with the transition from a center mid, withdrawn center mid, to a defensive role. She's really adjusted nicely here.
Now Nanez. Chastain blasted it right up into the air, and Kristen Nanez trying to get ahead on it, and Chastain, you know what? I don't know if Anka ever touched that, and if she didn't ever touch that, that should be a back pass in my book. Because that was Brandi Chastain that sent that skyward. You can see that shutout streak against New York for LaKeysia Beene. 2 games, 2 shutouts, and through this match as well. Esposito. And plays it back, and sees it from Fettig. Cece to Clark. Playing through Bell, trying to run on this. Whalen comes back and keeps Bell away from it, so Gal Hong could slide in.
Play, Joe. This is the one you talked about. Brandi Chastain receives the ball here. She's going to pass it back to Beene. And Anka, does she ever touch it? I don't think she ever touches it. I think it's a good call by you there,
If
Joe.
she doesn't touch it, that's a back pass.
And Joe, that's why you make the big bucks, because you see those things right off the bat. I need the replay.
Big bucks is a relative term. It's Whelchel to Fettig.
Gina, you okay?
Good flip on there.
Indeed, Nanez, Milbrick. Oh, what a tackle by Kelly Lindsey. Seemed to shrug off the cramp or whatever it may have been. Now a tackle again and late. And this will be a free kick for New York. I thought at first Whachel might have gone to the pocket for a guard.
And, you know, a dangerous place to give up a free kick, but I think one of the reasons that the Bay Area is doing such a good job at containing Millie is because of this. They're giving her no time and space to turn and take on. They are playing her so physical. You can see it again here. Lindsey makes the initial tackle, then she gets back up, and she goes right at her. All day long, they've been playing Millie hard, and harder.
Indeed, a good example there is just mistiming that second tackle, and Milbert had just touched the ball away. And now she'll take the free kick here. Keeps it low. They're trying to fool Bay Area a bit. Doesn't quite work. Cece.
You can see exactly what she was looking to do. Bend that ball around the box into the feet of Anka.
Ronnie Fair getting over to clear it away from Kim Clark. Up into space, and there once again is Kelly Lindsey as we are at Mitchell Field in Uniondale, Long Island for the New York Power and the Bay Area CyberRays WUSA action here on here on MSG. Joe Thomas and Ellen Weinberg and Brad Feldman with you. No score between the Power and Bay Area. As Bay Area in the gray, the Power in the black. Glad he could join us tonight. Right now, it is the Bay Area out front 1-0. On that goal by Katia, and she just unloaded from about 25 yards out.
I think it really caught Gal Hong off guard. There was no real reason she had to take the shot there. She had time, she had space.
And stepped into it well, indeed.
Boy, did she just let that one go.
And we haven't, a little bit in Gal Hong's defense, we haven't seen a lot of shots this season in this league come from that far out in the run of play. We've seen some free kick goals where the advantage was taken there. Tiffany Milbert has scored from about that far out, but in the run of play, as you said, she caught it in stride and just drilled it.
Yeah, and by a forward, you know, we've seen a little bit from that on a misdirect, the ball coming back out to a midfielder, but not by a forward in the run of play, as you said, Joe.
Now, Grohl Espacet on the throw, and it's Jess Reefer checking in for Christina Nanez. Lawler wanted to chip it back to Espacet, I believe, and now it's Nell Fettig who steps up to take this left-footed shot. Beene goes over to grab that. Well, we saw Christina Nanez shooken up earlier in the match. Is that part of the reason for this substitution? Let's find out from Brad Feldman.
It's absolutely part of the reason, Joe. Anka came off the field limping. As for Jess Reefer, her getting into the game is going to please a section of fans just above me here. We're chanting for her to get into the game at halftime. Pat Farmer ignored them, but we know what Pat Farmer wants out of Jess Reefer, and that's instant offense.
Reefer playing in only her 9th match of the year at a Hartford. She's a player, though. She's so opportunistic. She's going to come in, and she's just going to high pressure everywhere and try to come up with those loose balls.
Now Whalen. Pearman on the right side, Reefer overlapping on the run, and she receives it here. Cuts it across and too far back across the end line. Well, Wednesday night on Metro TV, a playoff-bound New York Liberty take the Garden Court against the Utah Stars. Tip-off at 7:30. WNBA action Wednesday on Metro TV.
And Joe, we talk about Reefer coming in. Well, this is where the injury to Kristy Pierce can hurt you. You're late in the game, you need offense. Well, because Kerry Connor started out wide and obviously didn't do a up-to-standard job for Pat Farmer, he took her out of the game. She would have been a player coming in off the bench to add offense.
Whalen to take the throw in here for the Power, and they need to step up the pressure as we go into the final 20 minutes of this match. Laid away by Venturini. And now upfield, Ronnie Fair once again. But it was Bell that slid in to knock that away, and now Whelchel sends it upfield, glancing it first off from Kim Clark. Fair will come over for the throw in, and they're going to have a substitution for Bay Area. Christina Bell will check out, and in her place comes Lisa Nanez out of Gatos, California.
And what does Nanez add? Well, you're up by a goal. She adds more of a defensive presence. She's played in 16 of their games. She is a regular. She started in 11 of them.
Esposette calling for it, sends it upfield. Reefer chasing after it. Kelly Lindsey there to clear it away. Power still in possession, though. Now Fettig out for Pearman. She's trying to get by Chastain. Pushes it towards the byline. Cuts into the 18. Pearman across. Reefer was there atop the 6. But it's cut down by Bay Area. And a corner kick coming up for the Power.
And that's exactly why head coach Pat Farmer made that substitution to put Tammy Pearman in for the second half. Is because of her physical presence, and we see it there. She's fast, she's strong on the ball. She's a bull in a china shop. We saw it there. It's not easy to take on Brandy Chastain.
Fettig swings the corner in. Pearman goes up with a header, punched away by Beene. And Cece takes control for Bay Area and just drives it upfield. Ronnie Fair tracks down after it as we are in the 73rd minute. And one thing, Ellen, we can tell you, for the New York Power, when they have been trailing after 75 minutes, both of those games have been here at Mitchell Field. They have lost both of them, 0-2 this season. We're behind after 75 minutes is now Katia blast up and over the bar.
And you know, not only when they're behind, but when they're ahead, they're giving up goals. Anything after that 75th minute has been dangerous. Look at this dangerous shot here by Katia. She's so good. She makes the step out wide to beat her defender. She sees the open lane to goal, and she just rips it. Gao Hong ready for that one, though.
Gao Hong got the touch on that, but the referee didn't see it. Rachel Wu and gave the goal kick to the Power. Because Gao at first was ready to set up for a corner, you could see by her reaction, but when the referee signaled goal kick, she just kept her mouth shut. Whalen. Reefer will receive this. Out wide, Power getting numbers into the 18. Reefer knocking it right off of Lindsey. And now Tammy Pearman back for it. Patient as she comes to the corner of the 18. Swings it across. Jans on the other side. Oh, and the flag comes up. Jans thought she saved it at the line.
And Jans not showing any rush there to get to that ball. I think she thought she clearly could jog to get to that one. You're down by a goal. That's got to be hefty. You got to charge as fast as you can.
Does the entire ball get across the line? I don't think so. And the referee's assistant who made that call is all the way on the far side of the field. That's why the look of surprise from Emily Jans.
It looked like she clearly saved that one.
Well, the Mets maybe bringing the slate even as perhaps Bay Area should have had a corner on that last shot by Katia. Now Cece has played back deeper and deeper in the midfield ever since Katia put Bay Area out in front.
And that's the thing that's so tough in this league. So much parity. Every team has dangerous front runners, so when you're down by a goal late in the game, you push up, and you're leaving dangerous front runners behind.
Dorn moving it ahead. And now Milburn trying to create on her own. 3 defenders there. She cuts back over to Jans. Power needs some help. They need some support in the 18. Jans will take a shot that's well wide.
And Joe, that's exactly what they're lacking right now. They've got to get numbers up. They've got to get numbers forward.
They had Jans, Milbert, and Jess Reefer. That was it. And 6 Bay Area defenders. You see all gray around. No black jerseys.
Count them. Millie versus 4. Jans versus 3. Where are the black jerseys? You're down by a goal. You're pushing forward. Your shape has changed. For Groh, you can say it's fatigue. She's been in the whole game. But Lawler's got fresh legs. She's got to get up. And Pearman's got fresh legs. She's got to get up. Whalen's got to get out of the back into the attack.
Now Lawler. Now Fettig deciding she'll join the rush. Playing for Reefer, and she's just a step behind. Right when that ball was played, she was just behind the Bay Area line.
Go in the middle of the back.
So Tiffany Milbert thinking to herself, there's still time. Fettig with the nice ball. Reefer's offside, you can see it. Just starting a little early. It was close, but she was offsides barely.
Pat Farmer making changes on the sideline, putting Groh Espeseth in the back line. Moving Sara Whalen out into the midfield, wanting her to get more involved and out of that back line. They've done a whole shift. He's moved Espeseth out of the midfield. Moved Kristy Whelchel over to the right back position to fill the void where Whalen will now move into the midfield.
Yeah, and you can see they changed their shape in doing that, and it's a good move. They moved to a 3-back, and if you're going to play a 3-back in this league against this talent in the Bay Area, it has to be Groh Espeseth back then.
Espeseth in the middle, and now it's Milbert moving to the 18, takes the shot, skips right into LaKeysia Beene.
Good effort there by Tiffany Milbert, but once again, it's Kelly Lindsey playing great defense for the Bay Area. Take a look at this. The numbers are up. She's taking on one defender. It comes over hard, and it's Kelly Lindsey.
Nell Fettig has moved into the midfield as well, kind of as a defensive midfield role, and that's where the 3 backs come in, with Espeseth flanked by Ronnie Fair and also by Kristy Whelchel.
And then Pearman moving out of the midfield up front to have 3 up front. This will help in that numbers up that we discussed that they clearly need offensively.
Foul goes against CC, the power with the direct kick. Let's check down on the sidelines as Brad Feldman joined by Kristy Kears.
Kristy, up in the booth, they've been talking about the changes that Pat Farmer made, moving Groh into the back line, Nell and Sara into the midfield. What does the team have to do to get the equalizer in your estimation?
Definitely keep going forward and use our width. Our width is doing well for us right now, and we're getting around the back and getting in, but we have to find Tiffany. Got to get her the ball, and she's been scoring goals for us. We got to look for her, and that's why I moved Nell up. She's more of the playmaker, and Groh back and organize the back for going forward.
Thanks, Kristy.
And it is Milbert who has the ball, plays ahead. Reefer pushes out for Jans. Now there's some numbers in the 18. Jans just needs to be able to get the service off. Creates some space, plays it in on Beene. She had pulled that back just a little bit. Tammy Pearman was rushing to the top of the 6, but it goes right into the arms of LaKeysia Beene.
And here's a look at it. Emily Jans does a nice job, well composed, moves, takes her, beats her. But then what does she do? She's done all the hard work. All she has to do is serve the ball, and she serves it right into Beene.
Oceguera. Field, Ronnie Fair trying to send it back the other way. Cece brings it down. Pushes out into space, and Katia gets by Whalen. Plays out for Kim Clark all alone, and trying to chip it to that far post, and puts it wide.
Katia, not just the goal scorer, but the playmaker. Beating Kim Clark, who was all alone, looking for her second goal on the year. She's been a nice player off the bench. Not quite sure what she was looking to do. Maybe a little too fancy there. When you're in the box, there's one thing to do as a front runner, and that's put your head down, look up, see where your opening is, go to goal, or shoot.
Well, she had all that time to think about it. It was Pearman trying to get by Kelly Lindsey. And Beene clears it out. It looked like she had all that time, thought about it, and saw that big open space on the far post and tried to finesse it. Now Lawler. I guess when you're up by a goal, you have that luxury to try things. Reefer cutting it across. Fettig ready to take it on the volley and puts it high.
An opportunistic player in Fettig, usually in the backfield, thinking, here's my shot. Let me take it. If she struck that just perfectly, it goes in. But those are tough balls to take, those half volleys. Better off maybe stopping that one. She had time, and then letting it rip. It wasn't too far out. She was at the top of the box.
There we see Tiffany Milbert. You want to talk to your favorite WUSA stars? Well, you can chat with Tiffany. It is a WUSA.com live chat Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Log on to WUSA.com. Your link to women's professional soccer. Tiffany Milbert to be there at 3 o'clock on Monday. As Gal Hong throws it upfield, but right to CC. Jans challenging the Brazilian midfielder. Out to Nanez. Lawler steps in to knock it away, and Whelchel will move it upfield. Right to Kerry Dorn. And then Milbert takes it away. Jans out wide. Pearman moves over to help out and support. Pearman trying to get by Oceguera and doesn't. Oh, what speed by Tammy Pearman. Oceguera trying to recover. CC comes into, Thori Staples Bryan coming in to help out.
Pearman there, pretty much a right-footed player. Looks to cut that ball back rather than strike that ball and cross it with her left foot.
Bryan came over to help out. Power now with the throw, and it is Milbert fair. And right into LaKeysia. I don't understand that cross there. We've seen it a number of times from the power tonight. It's going to be tough to try and beat LaKeysia Beene from that angle.
You see Pearman here. Usually plays on the right side. Here she's on the left side. She has her beat. Can she cross the ball there? It's that last touch that possibly got too far out in front of her. She tries to cut back, and it was good defensive play on the double play.
I think you had it right the first time. She uses her left foot to stand on and not much else. She had 2 chances to cross that with the left foot and shied away, and then tried to cut back to use her right. Just a little bit of lack of confidence in a pressure situation there.
Her strengths, her speed, her physical awareness, her physical presence, right foot, lots of upsides.
Jans. She cuts to the edge of the 18. She'll send it all the way across. Pearman can't bring that down, but Jess Reefer out wide. And Whalen as well, and it's Whalen who takes it. Back into the middle. Still loose. Pearman nods it down, cleared away by Oceguera. Espacek there.
And you can see that Bay Area has completely gone into a defensive shell, playing only 1 player up front.
Now floated in. Pearman had an opportunity, but that ball just a little too high for her as it floated over. LaKeysia Beene came out and made the stop. A little too strong on the service from Ronnie Fair. Tammy Pearman in good position there. Jans down into space. Milbert can't get around Thori Staples Bryan.
Jans finding the ball at her feet a lot as of late. A lot of left side play right now. Had some opportunities. Some good serves. Need to pull those serves back and keep them in play.
Espacek. Strong ball ahead. Now Reefer steps in front of Lindsey. Jess Reefer, she'll take a long shot from the edge of the 18. Off the mark.
Good speed there by Reefer. Thought she could take the shot from there. Somewhat of a low percentage chance there. She took it and it just went high. You could see the ball was too far out in front of her. Did not get her shoulders, her chest, her knee over the ball, and the ball went high as a result.
Venturini coming out here in the 85th minute. And in her place goes number 20, Ann Cook.
Ann Cook playing in her 13th game. No points, 4 starts.
And as Bay Area trying to hold on to a 1-0 advantage here against the Power. And what it will do for the CyberRays is at least clinch home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, and they are the only team in the league that has a clear advantage at home. As this floated across, Nanez trying to get there.
And well done by Emily Jans, who comes back, reads that well, and gets the ball with her head.
Bay Area 6-3-1. No other team has more than 4 home victories.
Gina, you cannot take touches there.
You can see the Power still leading that 1-0, and they have to come next Saturday as Ann Nielsen coming in for Ronnie Fair. And haven't seen much of the Danish International lately, but we'll see if she can provide some playmaking in the last 5 minutes of this match.
And she has that capability. She's offensive-minded. She's smart with the ball. She can get forward.
Kelly Lindsey sending up to Katia, nods it along, and brought down by Whelchel. Katia intercepts. Fettig comes back to win possession for the Power. And Nielsen playing in a left back position. Katia to Cici. Way through, Cici can't get there before Esposeth clears away, and it's a corner coming up for Bay Area.
And we saw that substitution with Nielsen coming in. One of the reasons she is a left back, but she has a great job of serving that ball with her left foot. The thought there, let's get that ball into play. The ball's being played a lot on the left side. Let's get her in the game.
This is her first action in almost a month, July 8th, out in San Jose against this Bay Area club. And now Cici, edge of the 18. She's going to drive this across. I think she was eyeing Thori Staples Bryan. Now Nanez a shot.
Ooh, that was dangerous.
And Andrew Esposeth will set up for the goal kick.
Take a good look at that. A nice chance there for the Bay Area. Well wide, though.
Whalen. Mildred touches the reefer. Now back through a seam, and Pearman trying to get there and knock it away from LaKeysia Beene, and Beene comes out to make the stop. Well, Madison Square Garden's Solid Ground program to benefit the Cheering for Children Foundation. You can own a piece of the garden with a personally inscribed entrance paving stone. For more information, 212-465-4170. Final substitution here for Bay Area as Jacqui Little comes in and plays Katia. Both teams using their full allotment of 4 field substitutions. Right now, 88th minute into the 89th now as Bay Area trying to hold on to this 1-0 advantage.
Stay in front, Lee. Stay in front of the play.
Jans.
Come on, Lee.
Through to Nielsen. Reefer right in the middle of the park. Plays it through. Pearman coming out. LaKeysia Beene dives for it and covers up.
And a nice job there. Nice ball movement for the Power, but LaKeysia Beene does a tremendous job coming out and reading that play. Here's a look. Nice ball played by Reefer. Right across to Pearman, who's breaking, but Pearman just can't get there. LaKeysia Beene doing a nice job coming off of her line and getting to that ball.
Well, the Power have given up 5 goals in the final 10 minutes of matches and have scored just 1. They need to get a second one here if they want to at least pull away a point from Bay Area. Now Jacqui Little trying to go 1-on-3. Now plays out for Cici. Whalen coming back. Gal Hong will clear that upfield.
Good defense by Whalen, and that's tough when you're pushing forward to be able to change your point of attack and get back on defense like that. That is a sign of a true good player. Good two-way play.
Whelchel up in the air, challenging with Little. Kim Clark and Esposeth, and the Norwegian comes away with it. Throws it right there to Nanez. Now Nielsen driving it upfield. Headed towards the side, and Pearman able to knock it away from Oceguera, but Oceguera plays it out for a throw-in. And this could be one of the final opportunities for the Power. As we approach the end of regulation. 2 minutes of stoppage time added here in the second half. Esposeth floats it into the 18 over Chastain. And that's going to go out. That's a corner. Excuse me, not a corner, goal kick for Bay Area. Chastain let it go by.
The Power have done a good job this second half coming out and playing the game that they can play. Regardless of the outcome here, they have one more shot at it, and that's against Washington in their final match.
And that's a game that if any folks are thinking about making the trip down to Washington to see that season, the regular season finale between the Power and the Washington Freedom, that match will actually be played at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis on the campus of the Naval Academy. Due to a scheduling conflict at RFK, they have moved it to Annapolis, which has seen its share of international soccer action in the past. A good header by Oceguera to knock it away, and the Bay Area just trying to hold serve here. Sends it along Milbrick. Still controlling. Trying to push by Dorn. They battle right along the end line, and it will be a goal kick for Bay Area.
And good defense there by Kerry Dorn.
Little finding CC. Emily Jans to Lawler.
Lawler's come in and played a nice game.
Now Fettig. Well, she'll float this across. Here's an opportunity. Beene goes up and takes it right away from Jess Reefer.
And boy, that is not an easy save to make. Reefer was all over it. It's a tough ball coming in, a tough ball to read. And Beene just did a tremendous job getting up and winning that ball.
Reefer upfield. You can see 2.5 minutes. A glance at the watch from Rachel Wu, the referee. There's only 2 minutes of stoppage time added. Beene takes this in. Bay Area just waiting for that final whistle. It will clinch home field advantage, and there it is. Katia with the blast. The only goal of the night for Bay Area to give the CyberRays a 1-0 win over the New York Power. And the Hyundai hero of the game, brought to you by our New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut Hyundai dealers, proud to donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund in honor of Bay Area defender Kelly Lindsey, tonight's Hyundai hero of the game. A tremendous match she played on the back line.
Boy, you know, offense may win games, but it's performances like Kelly Lindsey in the backfield that will win you a championship.
So Bay Area not only in the playoffs, they've clinched home field advantage with a 1-0 win tonight. The Power, well, either needs some help or a win against Washington next week. We'll come back to Mitchell Field, wrap this one up. Stay with us here on MSG. High-speed internet through your cable TV line. If only everything were as fast as Optimum Online, see it at the Wiz. And by Hyundai, proud to be a charter sponsor of the WUSA. Hyundai is backed by the freedom of America's best warranty, the Hyundai Advantage. Back at Mitchell Field, where Bay Area defeating the New York Power 1-0. And in the WUSA standings, Bay Area now on top, and they can clinch first place overall with a tie against Atlanta. In their final match, the Power still needing that win to see if they can get into the postseason and clinch that without needing help from other teams. So the Power with their work cut out next Saturday against the Washington Freedom. Well, we'd like to thank a number of people who have helped make our broadcast possible this season. The guys behind the scenes, our producer Neil Gallo, the director Mike Sheehan, Sal Nikita, our technical director, the cameraman, well, a number of them, Kevin Smith, Tommy Sheridan, Paul Beckerly, Ray McDonough, Jill Kohler, Tom Hughes, Matt Kelly, Charles Rangel, Victor Langton, our stage manager, Dick Copley, our graphics, Terry Smith, and Bob Prescott. Well, for Ellen Weinberg, Brad Feldman, also Lori Walker and Amy Ullman, I'm Joe Tollison. Thanks for joining us this season.
"50 countries, 600 wrestlers, one dream, a world title." See the world's best wrestlers compete at the World Championships of Wrestling at Madison Square Garden, September 26th through the 29th. Call
Not a shot, right to the middle.